Hello, my name is Visor, and I'm doing a video on Spelunky because it had a recent update. And it's pretty awesome. Now, there are a bunch of bug fixes and a bunch of other stuff, but the thing that I am most interested in is the Pro UI. I already turned it on, and it's completely optional, so if you don't want to use it, you don't have to. But look how awesome that is. The icons are just so much smaller, which means things hanging from the ceiling are no longer that scary to me. Like the top left corner with the old UI was the scariest thing ever. There could have been a spider or a bat hiding up there. And it was just an extra risk that was kind of a pain to deal with. And really, your icons didn't need to be that big. So this Pro UI, which is again optional if you don't want to use it, is amazing, and I pretty much think you should always use it. Additionally, if you look in the top right corner, you'll notice that there are two timers. The first one represents level time, which is awesome because now you know when the ghost will come. Normally the ghost comes at 2:30 30, except for boss levels and another level we're going to show later on in this episode. Which means I really don't have an excuse when I screw up ghosting because the ghost came on the wrong side anymore. I should know. Granted, it's going to be a while before I get used to it. Now the second timer is your total playtime. That's not as useful to me, but I guess it's good to know when I'm going on way too long, I guess. Granted, I'm just going to edit that stuff down anyway, so I guess it really doesn't matter for me. Still might be useful for other people though. Now, of course, there are also some other UI changes, like now the Ankh is integrated into your health icon, and the Ujedi is next to your gold symbol for some reason. Oh, also, when you collect a bunch of gold, it doesn't tally up what you just collected anymore. So if you want to figure out how much you actually made off of a vault, you're going to have to do some quick math. Still, I think the few downsides are completely outweighed by the benefits, and I'm probably just going to stick to the Pro UI. Now, another new benefit is the fact that Autorun is pretty much enabled. I think what's actually called is inverted controls on your run key. But basically, the normal control for the run button is you hold down the button and you run. However, you spend most of the game running anyway, so you spend most of the time just holding down a button. That's kind of ineffective. Now with the inverted run button, basically, it's a walk button. You normally run when moving, and you really only hold down the button to walk when you need to deal with something a little delicate. Like, say, setting up to murder the shopkeep or something. Personally, this is a huge benefit to me because, honestly, I was playing this game so often that, like, I was tiring out my pinky, and sometimes I wasn't actually running and getting myself killed. So this allowed me to play even more, which might not be healthy, but whatever, it makes me happy. Now, of course, there are other parts of the update, a bunch of bug fixes, a sloth damsel, but that pretty much covers the major gameplay changes, at least to me anyway. Now for the rest of the video, I'm going to show off the worm. That's basically a secret level that I never do in the daily challenges because you shouldn't ever do it during a daily challenge. It's going to screw you over. Basically, the entrance to the worm is that orange pulsating sticky thing you see on levels sometimes. It's usually on 3-1 or 2-1. In fact, I think it's guaranteed on 3-1 and 2-1. And normally nothing happens. However, if you feed it a damsel, it'll shake for a bit, and then suddenly a giant worm will eat everything there. And if you're eaten as well, then you'll be taken to the worm level. Now, the damsel can be alive or dead to trigger it, but a live damsel will give you health, a dead damsel obviously won't. In fact, you can use the worm to get the damsel to the exit without actually taking the damsel to the exit. It's fairly useful. Anyway, the worm is a very narrow but vertical level. I mean, as you can see, it's about a third of the width of a normal level, but in terms of height, I guess it's about double of a normal level. And because of that, it actually counts as two levels. Basically, if we go into the worm on 3-1, we'll end up skipping 3-2 and 3-3 and end up in 3-4. Which means if you take the worm on, say, 2-1, you'll end up skipping the black market completely. On the other hand, if you do it on 3-1, you could end up on 3-4, go into the mothership, then replay 3-4 again, and there's a chance that the Moa head will be there. Granted, there's also a chance that it won't, and you'll be completely screwed. So, which is why you don't ever do this during a daily challenge. It's a risk that doesn't really pay off. Plus, there's not really that much gold in here, so there's really no benefit. Well, there is a goal of coming into the worm. It gives you a really cool weapon, which we'll see later. But overall, the risks are not worth the reward. Anyway, in terms of new enemies in the worm, you notice these green, I guess, bacteria-looking thing floating around, covered in spikes. They're pretty much immune to range weapon. However, you can actually whip them, and that'll kill them. I just don't want to risk it, so I'm just boosting around. Also, occasionally these worms will pop out these little green pustules. The big ones are a danger. The little ones, they're just free blood. However, you also notice occasionally there are these cell walls that sort of pop into existence. And if you destroy them, they'll pop into existence later on. You do have to be a little careful about them because if they pop into existence while you're in their spot, pretty sure that crushes you. Anyway, you notice that little thing in the green acid? That's the crystal knife. So we're gonna get that. Now, it is a weapon upgrade, as in you don't have to hold it. It straight up replaces your whip. You just have it all the time. Obviously, if I'm holding the shotgun, I'm not using it. But it's a really cool weapon, and it pretty much instantly gives everything. So it has a lot of synergy with, for example, the Kapala. Allows you to get blood even from dead corpses. However, it will also give the shit out of the damsels, so you can't use it to get blood from the damsel before you rescue them. Well, I mean, you can, but you would only be able to use it once, and then the damsel will be super dead. Also, you notice in the worm, there's these green acid-looking thing. That's basically stomach acid, and it does do damage, but it's not like an instant kill like lava. So you can go into it, I just choose not to. Now also, if you look at the level timer, we've already passed 2 minutes and 30, which is normally when the ghost appears. Well, on the worm, since it's a longer than normal level, the ghost just doesn't appear at all. Which I guess is okay, unless you're into ghosting. Granted, considering how cramped and narrow this place is, I probably wouldn't want to play around with the ghost all that much. Oh, also in the worm, there's these uvula-looking things. You can climb on them. Pretty sure I'm thinking uvula. Thinking the back of your throat. Unless uvula is genitalia, which, you know, is possible. I'm really bad at biology. Anyway, so also in the worm, you can find a damsel, which is weird because you fed a damsel to get into here. Also, depending on when you enter the worm, the native enemies will also change. So for example, if you enter from the jungle level, you might see some frogs and snails. If you enter from the ice caves, you'll see UFOs, maybe some yetis. Oh, and finally, you can also get a secret character on the worm. It's the Meat Boy that I'm currently playing. Basically, you'll go through and eventually, instead of seeing a coffin like you normally get for secret characters, you'll see this giant green pustule. It'll have some sort of humanoid thing inside of it. That'll be the Meat Boy. And finally, we're almost at the end, and there's also an angry shopkeep. Assuming, of course, you killed some shopkeeps. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the worm. Pretty straightforward, and I think pretty obvious why you never want to do it during a daily challenge. And of course, this last update is awesome. Absolutely loving the Pro UI and the Autorun. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this short little episode. I hope you liked the video, and we'll come back for more in the future. And of course, thank you very much for watching.